marks the 5th annual Goodwill Refuse to Abuse 5K at Safeco Field, benefiting the Washington State Coalition Against Domestic Violence. Walkers and runners take part, supporting domestic violence victims, survivors, and families. Among the participants this year are friends and family of Katie Stralsund, a University of Washington student killed on campus. Her boyfriend is charged in that crime. Katie's sister and brother-in-law, Aaron and Chris Anderson, join me now. Thank you very much for being with us. So tell me first a little bit about Katie.
So Katie is the baby of our family. It's a family of 4 kids, and she was the baby of the family, and just the most sweetest, loving girl. She was
There she is.
Creative and loved the outdoors, but also very studious. Currently, she was a student at the University of Washington, and she was studying speech and hearing sciences.
So she wanted to help other people with that.
Yes, she did.
How did you find out that she was in a relationship that was troubled?
Well, we really didn't know. It was one of those things where the warning signs were subtle, not outright. You were noticing?
Do you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of times you think maybe that it's something that is obvious, but in her case, they were very subtle things that we just didn't
Tell me
know.
what those were as you look back on it, just so that if we're going through that,
Yeah.
you know, all of us, we might learn from it.
So looking back at it, there were just like isolation things that were happening where she wasn't as big of a part of family things that normally she would never have missed. And so there are things that we thought, just didn't think too much of at the time. But
But you
times when
think
she was
now
away-
that that might have been at the behest of her boyfriend?
Yeah, I think we
Yeah, we saw just a lot less of her and noticed just kind of a gradual decline in her self-esteem, some things like that were happening. It's hard to say that was the cause at the time, but looking back, we attribute those
Right.
things to a really unhealthy relationship.
It's always such a shocking loss, especially in a case like this where you didn't know and presumably couldn't have intervened for what you don't know about, right? What would you say to other people who are trying to look after their loved ones?
I think the biggest thing that we're trying to kind of promote is just the awareness and knowing how to support someone or just how to have those conversations.
And what have you found out about that?
We found out that awareness of domestic violence is there. It's just that it's tough to have those conversations with people, or people who are victims of physical abuse by an intimate partner are oftentimes not as willing to come forward with it because of the self-esteem and the things that are happening with the abuser.
Right. You all have decided to speak up about Katie's death and take part in the 5K. What is your motivation, your goal?
We want to continue to share Katie's story, students even younger, just so that they're aware of domestic violence and
Right.
also aware of how severe the consequences can be, because I think that piece is sometimes minimized, and it can really have a
Right.
devastating impact.
Especially when you're so young, right? You might not really realize what this is going toward. And have you developed a scholarship fund, I understand, at the UW as well?
Yeah, we've developed a memorial, it's the endowment fund through the University of Washington College of Speech and Hearing Sciences. And that's one of our main focuses of our foundation that we're starting off with. And ultimately with long-term goals towards having kind of smaller events and fundraising activities to help with that, just to keep her legacy going.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Eileen Stoll is here from the coalition. Eileen, tell me a little bit about how we can talk to people and how we can make them feel comfortable and how we can encourage them to speak out so that maybe we'll know better and be able to intervene in some way.
Yeah, I just so appreciate what Aaron and Chris were saying. I mean, I think that awareness is so important, but we need action as well.
Yes.
So we have tools actually available on our website for free download that help you take having the conversation to a different level and engage with folks at every age. It's never too young to start that conversation about what healthy relationships look like and feel like. And so we just really encourage folks to have that conversation and really, figure out that domestic violence is preventable. We all have a role to play in figuring out how to have healthy, respectful, and loving relationships.
And when you say there are tools online, what kinds of things?
So we actually have cards that guide you through conversations for different ages. They're developmentally appropriate. So if you could even start with your youngest kid as a 2-year-old and say, what does it mean to be a good friend, all the way up to tweens and teenagers and then adults, for really trying to have those conversations that get out what's it like to have respect in your relationship at a core, and what do you do if you're not getting that, and how do you negotiate?
And this is for relationships that may be emotionally or mentally abusive as well as physically abusive, right?
Absolutely.
So-
we know that violence doesn't take place in a vacuum,
Yeah.
and there's things that happen along the way that enable people to gain that control and have that coercion over folks. And so what does it look like when somebody's being jealous in a way that is unhealthy? Jealousy is actually an okay emotion. It's what you do with that and how you exert control over that. And so it helps to sort of unpack those kinds of
Absolutely.
things.
I think that, we talk about we should be aware, and then, a lot of people go,
Right.
what does that mean? So those
Right.
specific tools are helpful. How does the 5K help with this?
So the 5K is, first of all, the thing that I think it's the best thing is that it really just shouts out to the world that healthy relationships should be the norm, and that we refuse to abuse and choose respect. The second thing it does is it provides funding for our prevention efforts, which is what's near and dear to my heart, to really start those conversations with folks all around the state and know that we all deserve to have healthy, loving relationships.
Amen. Thank you so much, and thank you both for sharing with us today. We appreciate it. The 5th Annual Goodwill Refuse to Abuse 5K takes place Saturday, July 9th at Safeco Field. The event gets underway at 9 in the morning, and I'm honored to serve as MC again this year. Please visit our website for more information about the event, as well as important resources for domestic violence survivors and families. You'll find that very easily on the website. Just let us know if you need any help. Still ahead, a special writing program at Mary's Place inspires a book about both homelessness and hope. We'll be right back.